Today's trouble is tomorrow's blessing. Actually, life is so unpredictable. What we see, we think, and we reflect on it with our experience. But beyond that, it is really massive. It's gigantic. There are a lot of things going on, but we are unaware of it. If we talk about ourselves, then we of course mull over it that today's trouble is tomorrow's blessing. Why? Just because you keep on fighting with your trouble. Today I'm holding a position in a company. Maybe tomorrow my job will be at stake. I don't know. It's completely unfortunate or unpredictable. It's you cannot imagine it. But on the other side of it, if you think that if you do not have a job, you're between jobs, if you go for a business or if you go for another field, then you may success. You may get success. It is not that you will go for one single thing in your life. I remember when we get that question from our teachers at school that why, what do you want to become in future? Majority will say, I want to become an engineer, I want to become a doctor, teacher. I don't think that particular profession or career one person can have. Multiple careers they may choose. One person can be an entrepreneur or at the same time content creator, maybe a producer, right? There are so many fields one person now hold. Now the thing is that while we talk about trouble, it depends on the density of troubles. I mean, as sir talked about poverty, it is really a curse. It is, you cannot imagine that beyond India or in Africa, the poverty is insane. I mean, how to fight against it, it's really challenging. So there, you know, today's trouble cannot be tomorrow's blessing. But if we talk about troubles or mistakes of us that made by today, of course can be rectified by tomorrow if we dodge the bullet, if we do not throw ourselves in towel.
Okay, I would like to
Of
cut it
course
short
we
here,
can
Ms. Chakraborty.
get success.
If a person has a real talent quality, still he is in the below the poverty line. So, do you think that that particular thing can be an obstacle for the person? If a
He
person
has a
has a
talent.
real talent, a genuine talent, so now do you think so the poverty can be an obstacle for him or her?
See, I really believe that everyone has talent. No, there's no
A
one
genuine
with,
talent I'm talking about.
everyone has genuine talent.
In general,
But
everybody has the talent, but there are some people, those who have the talent in them. They're born with the talent. So what about them? For them, do you think so the poverty can be an real an obstacle?
see, I feel that everyone has talent
Do you watch
themselves,
cricket
but
match?
the thing is that,
Do you watch
but the
cricket
thing
matches?
is that if they don't brush up on those talents or those skills, it is absolutely useless. But if I talk about, our writers like Vivekanand, that Michael Madhusudan Datta, who was a very famous writer. When he was at the last stage of his life, he didn't have money. He was broke. I mean, he has a lot of talent. He did. He has written so many great uh, poems or rather poetries and all of that. But the thing is that when he needed money, he didn't have that. So we can safely conclude that he was indigent at that point in time. But he had a lot of talent. So I feel that talent, if a person has talent, that doesn't mean that he will always be up or he will always be affluent. Maybe he or she can be poor and at the same time he or she has talent, but it will take some time to just flourish or come off with flying colors in the long run sustainability afterwards.
Do you think that a person who has the genuine talent, he can get the zenith of success so easily?
I don't think so because if a person has talent, of course it will take some time and nothing happens overnight.
How long? Take some time, it's talking about how long, how many months, how many years, or rather how many decades.
See,
Is there any parameter? to measure the time length?
No, of course there is no parameter, but I would say it will depend on the work what he or she
Yes,
has
that's
been
why
doing.
the question I put to you a genuine talent. So that's why I was asking you the question. In the meantime, you are going through your statement. The fact is that do you watch any sort of matches, cricket, football, or anything?
Yes, I do.
Which one do you like the most?
I like cricket matches.
Cricket match. So there was particular a player who recently became a very high tune player. Okay, this is with Jaiswal.
Hmm.
Okay, there are many players earlier. Rather, there were many players. Let me talk about from West Indies. If I'm not too much wrong, so far I have the knowledge, West Indies is also one of the countries where there the poverty plays a very vital role. So the universe boss, Chris Gale, there are many other players, Darren Bravo. Okay, so now this all those players were from the West Indies. So there were once upon a time the match took place at Eden Gardens. T20 World Cup was going on. Even West Indies government cricket board association has already declared that we will not send you to this tournament, but they have taken the vow that we will be the winning team in this competition, and they won the victory over the England. Even not only that, the women West Indies team also brought the trophy. So now in this case, don't you think so the talent if a person has genuine and honest himself, so no poverty plays a very vital role?
See, it would depend. I would say it would depend on the situation. As he talked about one example, and I had already talked about another example of a writer. It would depend, of course, when you have that opportunity to show your talent, or to, in front of the whole world, you are playing on the field, and you know your stamina, you know how to play, you know how to set your boundaries. So that point in time, I feel that you could get that success, you could be successful. But if I would talk about another perspective of a person, if a person has no one, if a person has no team, if a person has no one by his side to just help himself, help herself or himself, so that will
But what
not, of
about then
course.
in that case the person own self-realization? In that case, what about the person's self-realization? At that particular point in time, the person ready to stomach in lot of criticism, lot of endeavors which is going to face or she is going to face. That particular thing is going to make them the days to come a great gun.
People are keen on criticize people or find their mistakes instead of searching mistakes of them. There are a lot of people, I mean, if you talk about many saints are there, they also criticize saints. I mean, they lead a very peaceful and serene life, right? So if we are that much reluctant to just have their, I mean, we are reluctant to support them, then I do not feel there is a way out. Of course, you need to fight for yourself. You do not need to hear a lot of people's criticism.
Okay.
You just need to focus.
So far I understood your statement is totally against of the topic, if I'm not wrong.
I am not against of the topic, and I'm not against the topic, and I'm not favoring the topic as well, because
You're on the
this topic,
fence. You're on the fence.
because the topic is, it will depend on situation. If the situation changes, the topic's meaning will be changed. Right. If you are talking about a cricket match, you are talking about a perspective of a cricketer.
I
Of
gave one
course,
of
the
the
life of a
examples.
cricketer will not be equivalent to a life of a writer. Of course, there will be different parameters of their lives. There are different parts of our lives, right? How can we just, in
But the
general,
process-
conclude that it
but
is
the process,
actually equal
but the
to them?
journey, but the preparation, almost each and everything on a same scale, they are going to get ready.
Actually,
The
he's,
projection may be different, the outline of the projection may be different, but what about the preparation? What about the mindset? What about the mental setup? Each and everything almost same. We can see in a same box, all the things are ready.
all right, how could you just estimate that everyone's preparation is same? If I see a perspective of a student, and if I see a perspective of an employee who is keen on getting a promoted position in his company, and a student who is getting ready or who is burning his midnight oil for an exam, how could the preparation be
The stakes
same?
matters. the stage on which they are going to play the character, that stage particular matters.
It is not at all same. Everyone has different challenges, everyone faces arduous situation in their lives, and that are completely different from each other. We cannot just put our shoes in someone's and we just conclude that everything is same. Of course we see everything with our experience, and I addressed it in the very beginning of my speech, that we just want to conclude everything with our experience, our understanding. But apart from that, there are a lot of things happening in the world that we are unaware of it.
Do you have any role model in your life? Whom do you follow? Whom do you like to be an inspiration person?
I look up to my father.
Okay. So now, why this particular role model in our life we look for? That may be in case of you, your father, in case of somebody, some other person. Why do we, in general, why do we need a role model or an inspiration person in our life?
Actually, I do not feel that everyone should have a role model. They may have a role model, but I don't think they should have a role model, because some people may think, or I have also listened to them, that they think that I do not have anyone to follow. I follow myself, and I just work every day to just grow myself. Today my perspective is a point, or today my perspective is something, but 10 years down the line my perspective will be different from that will be completely different. Today it is it may be, I do not know about the world, but after 10 years I will be more accustomed to the world, and my perspective will be changed. So I do not feel that everyone should have a role model. I do have a role model as my father, because I have never seen a man have made such sacrifices for his family and for myself. So yeah, I
Or let that be subject matter.
yeah, so yeah, I do feel that sometimes trouble can make you grow in your life and just give you that confidence, that mileage in your life, but not all the time it will bless you with itself.
You have an exam today and you're well prepared. Suddenly you wake up in the morning, unfortunately, with a stomachache.
Hmm.
And it's impossible for you to go to the examination hall to take the exam.
Hmm.
So in that case, will this be a blessing? Will
Of
this
course
be a
not, sir,
blessing?
because my paper will be cancelled, and 1 year I have to wait to appear another examination. So I do not feel that is a blessing, of course. That in, again,
What sort of trouble is a blessing?
again that is a the trouble. If we talk about trouble as blessing, we can say that a businessman or an entrepreneur, if he or she is starting anything new venture, then of course by day he or she will succeed by knowing all the things. Of course he or she has to do a lot of market research, and after some time he or she will get
That's not
success.
trouble.
He may
It's not trouble.
face a loss in his or her business also. Analyzing the fact that in which areas I can just go that will bring me profit, so that needs a lot of hard work. Maybe the stock market will just drop.
Hard work is not trouble.
Of course not, hard work is not trouble, but suddenly if something happens, if the
For example,
if maybe the employees of the company resign suddenly, all of a sudden, if the infrastructure of the company is not going as per the market standards, then it may lose the position in the market. So there are a lot of
that's not
things.
a blessing at all.
Yeah, that is the trouble I'm talking about. That is the
How
trouble.
can that trouble become the blessing tomorrow?
Yeah, by continuously or seamlessly working on it to get that thing better in the next morning, that will be the blessing. If
Same is the case with you. I'm being unable to appear at the examination. Perhaps this year, if you appeared at the examination, you wouldn't have scored so well as you would if you appeared next year.
but these also can happen, sir. I was so prepared for this examination.
Possibilities are there. Different possibilities are there. How can you say with certainty that today's trouble is tomorrow's blessing?
But if as you talked about the examination, but if I don't appear in the examination, of course I will fail. But if I had,
Same is the case. If my employees resign, it's not possible for me to earn a profit. I'm going to suffer a loss.
but after some time, maybe within 6 months down the
How will
line,
you
you may.
compensate for that loss. You have lost something. And how will you compensate for that loss then?
Everything,
Loss is a loss.
everything has two sides. Of course, we need to face both the sides. As I'm unable to appear in the examination, that my 1 year is loss. Is it's absolutely useless. So that the case of an corporate sector also. If 6 months they need and recovery, and after that they will go with the great guns.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.